Hello, my beautiful friends. Sorry you can see the top of my thing that's holding my background, but it is what it is. So I hope that everybody is having a very, very happy start to their 2019 new calendar year. I am over here. Things are definitely good. We're getting rolling nice and slow. I'm definitely in winter mode over here, so moving a little bit slowly, recovering beautifully. I'm about 6 weeks out from surgery now, so that is moving right along as well. Right along as well. Hi Luana, hi Maya, hi Tiffany, and yes, I'm sorry if you didn't have time to plan to be on a live chat with me. Hi boss lady. I'm just doing an impromptu one. I was sitting here at my desk getting the February videos ready. We've got a giveaway that's happening in February. And I just thought, you know what? We've got these eclipses coming up. I really want to talk about these things. Hello, everybody. Let's see. Stephanie, Mr. P, you're in here. Hi, Jody. Hi, T. Phillips. I see you all coming in here, so I'm glad that you're getting a chance to come in. And yes, for my surgery, I'm doing just fine. I'm just recovering. My body, this is the first time in my adult life that my body is this in alignment with the seasons. I mean, as winter has come on, I definitely have felt the slowdown, and it's really interesting because it's a first for me, like I said. So I'm having to take a little bit more slowly, hydrate, and just stick here and do what I do. So what we are going to talk about, and we're going to give some other people a chance to come in here, but what we're going to talk about today is we've got these eclipses, both solar and lunar, coming along here just shortly. We've actually got our first solar eclipse of the year coming up here just on the 5th, so we're just a few days away from that. So we are going to talk about that. I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a guide to follow these through the houses of your chart. You know what sign it's going to be in. Now you just need to locate that sign and that degree on your personal chart. And if you don't have a natal chart, come see me at stormiegrace.com and get one. Or go get a free one. I mean, you do what you need to do so that you can make sure you have the correct information for your particular chart. But that's what you're going to do. You need to know, with any of these placements, you need to know what sign it is and what's the degree, and then you can go find that on your chart, and then you need to know your aspects. And if you don't know your aspects, you maybe want to use one of the free converters or get a reading or do something like that, okay? But so what I'm going to talk about today, as our friends are still continuing to join us. Hi, everybody. Hi, Davina. Hi, Maggie. Hi, Nightcat. I see you trying to start a house 5. If you don't know the time of your birth, that's a great question. I get this all the time. You've got a couple options. What you can do is you can either just use noon, and it gives you a pretty even split, at least between sun and moon placements, about where's about you are going to fall. So it gives you a little bit, hi Tara, it gives you a little bit of a nice split. Or you can do what's called a chart rectification. And that's where we go back through different events in your life and we figure out, around about what time you were born. It's really a neat little process, all of that good stuff. So while people are still coming in, I want to share something with you guys because we're going to be talking about it a little bit. Hi, Camilla. In February. So I am being sponsored. All of our videos for February and the monthlies are being sponsored by this company called Sashko. And here's the deal. It is really hard for a company to gain sponsorship on my channel because we're here for the astrology. Like I'm not a huge fan of that kind of stuff. But this company reached out. They reached out to me the correct way, and maybe it's just the timing of everything. But this is the company. It's called Sashko. Okay, you can find them online, definitely. And what they make is jewelry, all kinds of cool jewelry. But what I have for giveaway that we're going to give away in February are these beautiful handmade crocheted beaded bracelets. I don't know if you guys can really see the beadwork here, but I think it's absolutely gorgeous. And here's the deal. Here's how they got in, okay? First of all, this company is about fair trade business, and I'm a fan of that. I am just a big fan of that. The other part of that is that it's about women empowerment. We've got this North Node in Cancer going on. We're coming home to a lot of feminine energy. The moon is just on go in 2019. So truly, that divine feminine energy is rocking and working. So if these people are making some beautiful bracelets out there in Nepal, helping women make more, have something different, because the fact is, not everybody has everything that they even actually need. So if this is giving somebody an opportunity and they are making something that gorgeous with their hands and their artisanship, I'm on board. So I will be doing giveaways of these two beautiful bracelets from this awesome company in February. So keep your eyes posted. I'll tell you what you need to do to get those, okay? All right, my friends. It's absolutely gorgeous. I hope that you guys go check them out. Sashko, you can check them out online, okay? But all right, everybody, let's jump in and we're gonna work with houses. We're actually not gonna work houses 1 through 12. I'm gonna do houses in opposites, because when something is happening in one house, you wanna know what's happening across the street, okay? So we're just gonna talk about them in a general way so that you kind of have a general idea when you're looking at your own chart, okay? All right, so first of all, starting with that first house, which who's across the street is that 7th house. Now, if you're having an eclipse of any variety, if you are having an eclipse in the first house, this has to do with yourself, your sense of self. You may have this desire where you're like, I need to find my I am. I need to find my why, my me, my... You know, there's these, maybe you're doing things, taking actions where you're like, this will define me, right? I think if you've had relationships or something like that going on, that maybe you felt like you lost your you will certainly see this happening in the first house, because the challenge here in the first house with any kind of shakeup, because an eclipse is going to bring an emotional shakeup. You know, it's rising from who knows where, but it's been coming for a while. And the challenge here with this particular axis is to, first of all, have enough initiative and go to be you, to be yourself, to do you, to let people know who you are even in the outside world, and identify yourself that way without trampling on other people. So that's why we see over in the 7th house, if you are having an eclipse over there, what you're going to do is, first of all, you may feel the weight of responsibilities, right? You may be combining your life with someone else, of course, and this could be a business partnership. This could be a romantic partnership. But you see how within that, we really want to pay attention to the axis, because what's also happening in that first house while you're working on your 7th house is you don't want to lose yourself. In the 7th house, an eclipse in the 7th house, you don't want to lose your own voice. You don't want to lose who you are while you're merging. And I do think on both of these particular axes, when we're looking at the eclipse here, there is kind of this fear of not being you, right? Like that you'll no longer be you. But the other things that I think happen is that you just awaken to the truth that maybe that was just one version of you, and that you can be in some kind of relationship. And like I said, business relationships happen on eclipse all the time. It's not always about a marriage. Whatever's happening and being shaken up in the relationship zone is definitely going to be to put you in the right alignment with the right partnerships. Now, in the 7th house, when there's an eclipse over there, can there be a breakup? Yes, absolutely there can be a breakup when this happens, because this energy is coming to shake you into the right alignment. So if this is not the right alignment for you, if you have lost your voice, if you have whatever it looks like, it can definitely be a breakup. Now, this can also be enough of an emotional shock in some kind of relationship that you deepen the truth, you deepen the honesty, you deepen the intimacy of something that might be happening here. Now, here's the last thing that I want to say about this particular axis. Happy New Year, everybody, and hello to people just coming in, is that I think what's really important here is that idea that because in the 7th house, these are conscious, chosen relationships. We have these people in our lives, these relationships in our lives for a reason. They're helping us do something. They're not the ones we're just forced and fated and thrown together in. They are here for a reason. And if the friendship, if the business partnership, if the romance, if the relationship with you and yourself is not taking you to the next level, is not making you emotionally set and secure, because remember, the moon is about my security. If my security is not being met, I'm going to shed the relationship. So if you're out of alignment here, you're going to push these relationships out, or if you are a little bit out of alignment, you're going to course correct them and bring them so that everybody's getting what they need met. That's just how it's going to go down, okay? All right, so hopefully that clears anybody up who's on that 1st and 7th axis. So remember, you always want to look at what's happening across the street. I don't care if the entire world is happening in your 1st house. Also know that it will impact that 7th house, okay? All right, let's look at the 2nd and 8th house. Now, this is a place of material realities for you. And this is on the other side. In that 8th house, this is going to be a place of transformation. So let's say you've got eclipse energy and it is running through this 2nd house, okay? What you own, the way you make money, your talents, your skills, the things that you value, things that you do and you make with your own hands. Ooh, like bracelets. To do it, you guys. Okay, but the things that you do that you create that have value, or the things that you value, you're going to start to reevaluate these things. Now, with an eclipse, solar or lunar, it creates a little tiny bit of crisis. So yes, your finances can go into crisis. Yes, things can become a little bit unstable. You're having this internal battle about, should I put my product out there? Are people going to like what I have? Should I ask for this promotion? I mean, all of these things, there can just be this inner rustling, and it's all about value. How do I make money? How do I share my talent? Do I need to clean out my material possessions, right? Whatever it is. Now, here's the thing that I also think with the wrestling that happens with eclipse energy is that even if it seems like this is just some whole fiasco happening in this area of your life, or it's a real intense hardship, hi Dee Dee, what you're trying to do is stick with it. Be honest about what you want to be doing, be honest about what needs to be done, and continue to push through. Right? It's again about this alignment. The most important thing here is for you to be achieving, right now we're doing houses 2 and 8, is to be achieving what is best and what's most in alignment in these particular houses. So if there's a little bit of crisis here with your finances, you're going to have to take some action to figure out how to bring that back into alignment, right? The crisis that sometimes happens, and it's funny because we don't really think of it this way, but the crisis that sometimes happens for people is they've had a talent, they've had a skill, they've had a whatever, they've been having a crap ton of no good luck in finances, and then they get some money and they don't actually know what to do with that. Humans are such funny people. We are so funny. So your crisis could actually be that you have money come into your world as well, and then you got to figure out what to do with it. Now, what's happening across the street? 8th house. Okay. This is the house of regeneration. This is the house of getting into the deep, right? Getting into the ushy-gushy of it. So something that could definitely be happening here is you could be being asked to transform something in this 8th house. You could be being asked to transform, right? These eclipses could be saying, hey, we can't hold on to these emotions. We can't hold on to this stress. We can't hold on to these old beliefs anymore. We've got to die off so that a new version of us can live intensely, sexually, alive, moving, right? Fertile. Anything happening in your 8th house, the energies are always going to be looking to make it fertile, abundant, and alive. Keep that in mind, right? So what does that also look like? If you have debts in the 8th house, yes, this could bring shakeup and crisis, and you're having to deal with these debts, because when you have debts, it's putting weight on you, right? This is not stunning and fertile and alive. It's debt. Even if you're paying it on time, you want to be free from these things. So it could put you in a position of reflection where you're having to redo your budget or do something like that. Now, I will tell you too, in my experience, when there is eclipse or moon energy happening in the 8th house, opportunities for sex and sexual things become a lot more abundant, or conversations or dealings with things around sex. And that is not always fun, and we're just, coconut oil and ski masks and whatever you're into. It's not always that. Sometimes these are the traumas, these are the dramas, these are painful things that come up. But it is all coming up to help us shed a controlling situation, shed something that has had control over us. Now, the last things that I want to say about this 8th house space very specifically is it doesn't matter in what form it comes. transformation is being asked in this house. But because this house is also richly abundant with occult things, metaphysical things, things of the truth, things of the spirit, maybe this awakens you, enlivens you to say, all right, look, I know my family would probably not understand and get on board, but I feel called to do tarot. I feel called to do astrology. I feel called to help unearth truths, right? This could be something that you're definitely having going on in this reflection time. But either way, what I can tell you, whole and whole, second and eighth house, the ideas here is that you are perhaps not using a talent or not using a resource to the very best of its ability, and you've got to make an adjustment here. And as soon as you do, the goodness comes rushing in. It's absolutely brilliant when it happens, okay? All right, so we just finished second and eighth houses, so let's move over here to the third and ninth house axis. And if you're just joining us, hi, welcome. I'm glad to have you here. We are talking about eclipse energy through the houses. So third house, ninth house, these are our mental houses. Now remember, the third house is the house of the tiny mind. It's details, it's patterns, it's early learning. It's, we got all the tea down in the third house. But in the ninth house, across the street, this is the house of the big idea. I like the big things. I don't want to know about the details. It's like, I just want world peace. But then the third house is like, how are we going to do that, right? The ninth house is not so strong on the details. It gives you the tea, but not the details, okay? So in the third house, when you've got eclipse energy happening over here, first of all, I really think about the body when I think about the third house. So if you're having some third house energy going on, I want you to pay attention to your body. Please make sure you are sleeping. Please make sure you are giving your eyes and your nerves downtime, because the third house rules over the nervous system, right? Because the third house is about connections, patterns, interweaving, interworking. So when we get any kind of emotional body happening over here, like the moon, and especially in an eclipse energy, the nervous system can really get taxed. You want to make sure you are hydrating, doing all of the stuff to keep the nervous system so that it's in whack, not out of whack, okay? But that said, because the third house is so much network communication and networking and things like that, we're going to have a change to some of our social networking patterns absolutely happening here. And these are at the smaller level. It's not like your Facebook and your Snapchat or anything like that. These are the people you're actually talking with. You're communicating with your neighborhood, your siblings. Maybe you're studying something, right? And all of these things are about the details, the information, the communication, the patterning to take you to someplace else in life. This is a beginning stage of your learning or communication, and it's going to take you to a larger place in life, okay? So an eclipse happening here could trigger you to go back to school. You want to study something. You want new networks in your vibe. Maybe you need to go back to school because you need new training. You need to learn something. Maybe this triggers conversation with maybe your siblings or your extended family. It could definitely be a time. Maybe there's something going on with neighbors or in your neighborhood or something like that. But ultimately, when I think about this eclipse energy in the third house, it stimulates us enough or creates just enough chaos for us that we're having to have conversations around the networks that we're connected with, right? We need to make some adjustments. I need to study, because if I want to be a nurse, I obviously need to go to nursing school. If I want to be a mechanic, I probably should know something about fixing cars, right? Good to see you. Thanks for coming. So any of these things, any of these new trainings or studyings or new conversations are going to become available. Now, the one thing I do throw into the third house, because I've found in my practice it works, is websites. If you've got a website, if you're writing a book, anything that you will eventually share with people, that falls in the third house as well. So maybe you get a spark of new ideas. I mean, you have to think about what else is happening with the eclipse, with the solar eclipse we're going to have. It's wedged in between both Saturn and Pluto, so it's trying to level us up. We're trying to bring something in your third house, ninth house space to the next level. So we need to level it up, bring it up. So if you've been working on writing a paper, a book, or a website, this is energy that may help you or may show you what's off about it, okay? Now, not Facebook. Facebook, Instagram, any of the big socials like that will fall a little bit more into the 11th house. But if it's your own personal website that you're doing some writing on or whatever, that's a third house kind of deal. Now, in the 9th house, this is about getting out of your comfort zone. The very first thing I genuinely believe that we do in the 9th house is we come into contact with our own current realities of faith, okay? And faith has nothing to do with your religion, and in your case, you may have changes happening within your religion, your ceremonies, your beliefs, any of those kinds of things. But faith in a pure form is, I really want to take this leap or do this thing, and I have no idea what's going to happen on the other side, and I'm going to throw it in the fuck it bucket and do it anyways, right? Like, that's faith. Faith is blind. It's that childlike, beautiful faith. So the first thing we come into contact with, I think, when we have anything happening in the 9th house is our faith. And an eclipse here is going to get into our emotional body. It's going to shake us up, and it's going to be like, oh my God, I've got to get out of my comfort zone. I've got to get out of here. I've got to get to the edge of who I believe that I am and try something else. Be ready for something else. Go after something. I have to trust. I have to trust whatever it is I call God. I have to trust whatever it is I call my guiding force, my higher self, whatever it is. And that may also change and challenge you, right? But what's so beautiful about the 9th house space, it is your absolute space for you to go beyond your own limits, right? So it's an absolutely lovely energy. Now, of course, we've got other things happening in that 9th house as well. This could shift you into, Simone. This could shift you into a place of maybe you're actually ready to take a little bit of a sabbatical from work or from teaching. And you're like, look, I am burnt out. I need to take some time. I need to get my head around some other things. Whatever it is, you could also be wanting to take a little bit of a break from what you're normally used to. Maybe you're not wanting to take a break. Maybe you want to become an exchange student. You want to go back to higher learning university. You want to teach. You want to get into ministry. You want to work in that spiritual realm. Maybe what it is that you even are wanting to travel now, and keep a very open mind when it comes to travel, right? Travel, yes, we could be jumping oceans, because remember, in the 9th house, we're doing big travel. In the 3rd house, we're doing tiny travel, city to city, maybe state to state, right? But in the 9th house, yes, we could be jumping oceans, and we're doing international business. We're learning a new language. We're doing all of the stuff, right? But travel today in 2019 can also mean you've got a message from at home, right? You know, with your weird background, and you are giving it out to other people. You've got it on YouTube. You've got a podcast. You've got, 1 million followers on Instagram. Travel is very, very open in 2019. Now, one of the things I do think for some people, I definitely believe this in 2019, some of you will be developing your own courses for people to start studying, and or you'll begin a course of study. There's just this energy of travel and study that is intense in the 3rd and 9th houses, okay? All right, shall we move on? Yes, we shall, and we will. Okay, 4th and 10th houses. These are a trip. Just whatever's happening at home is happening in the career, and vice versa. This place is just a trip, right? So if you've got eclipse energies and they are, hi there, welcome guys. They are happening in your 4th and your 10th houses. First of all, we've got angular houses, right? We've got the IC and the MC that we're looking at here. And the IC we've really got to take care of so that we can use it in the MC, right? The IC is this private place that's at home for us, and we're like, all chill, all quiet, all whatever, so that we can use it out in the world. But if you've got eclipse energy, it's happening in your 4th house. It's going to bring your attention laser focus wise to home. So home, what does that mean? First of all, the very first home any of us are given is the one that we're living in right now, right? We've got our little taco suits on. So home, right? You need to pay attention to your grounding, your centering, what makes you secure, what's the foundation, what are the beliefs that you've got going on right now, right? Because can you build a life off of the beliefs that your home is built on? Because let me tell you what, it's actually a trip to try and build a nice, big, beautiful house on foundation that's shaky, right? Now, whether this is just from what you've established or what was actually given to you from your past, coming up with your family, whatever it is, the things that have helped to shape your emotional body are going to come into question, and it's about you. What do you need to be home? What do you need to feel whole, right? Now, because we've got a moon coming into a naturally moon-ruled space, this can absolutely trigger things from the past, trigger events, emotions, experiences, things with your parents, things that happened in your past, especially as you were coming up as a child, right? This can trigger all of these things, and the crisis brings you back to the root of needing to detach. You've got to unearth that root and branch. That's what it's asking you to take some attention to. If there was a tragedy in your life for some reason, or something you perceive to be as a tragedy, maybe you're coming back to that and you're getting to put fresh eyes on it, right? Today you're not 10 years old looking at that event. Today maybe you're 40 and you're like, oh my God, my parents really did the best that they could do because they were broken humans just like the rest of us. Or, oh my God, my parents taught me that, and I didn't even realize till I was 40 that my parents taught me that. You know what I mean? It could be something that happens like that there. Now, other things is the actual physical house itself. Yes, you could have stuff come up there. You know what I mean? Maybe you've got to look at, you have to make some repairs. Do you need to, is it time to move? Now, I will tell you, I do not work with the belief that it is a really great time on the eve of an eclipse to try and move your house. Your emotional body is just like all over the place. But I tell everybody, you trust your intuition over my reading any day, please, okay? So it could bring on a move. It could trigger a move that over the next 6 months, you're like, nope, I gotta go. I gotta boop, boop, right? And because this is on the axis of that 10th house, you could have a job that triggers you into a move, right? Or you could lose a job that triggers you into a move, right? These things could all be things that come to the table. Last things I want to say about the 4th house, because I think they're as equally important, especially this year with that North Node in Cancer. This could be things with parents, especially mamas, you as a mother. This is definitely a time where I definitely think maybe you find out you've got to take care of a parent needs some help. You're coming back into a family zone in some way, shape, or form, or you're disconnecting from it. Something like that, but there's a very high parenting energy. And I really believe that when it comes to that past, to the parenting energies, parents and children fall short of each other's ideals all of the time, whether or not we say it out loud. And we just have to put this energy in there of a lot of forgiveness. There's a lot of forgiveness on the table when we're in the 4th house, okay? All right, let's jump across the street and let's look at this 10th house. I guess I should say across the street. In the 10th house, we're coming into power dynamics, authority dynamics. So now it is argued, and there's nothing solid really in astrology that the 4th house is the mother, the 10th house is the father. I tend to think a little bit more in terms of the 10th house being a more masculine based energy. So I won't put your dad up there because maybe you had a mom who had a more masculine energy than your other parental figure. One of them had more of one energy typically, okay? So in that more authoritarian energy, you could be dealing with issues of more authoritarian nature. Was this your dad? Was this the parental figure or person in your life that just had more of a heavier energy to them, right? This really does, because it's on the axis of that 410, I really still believe there's so much family involved here, family members. This could even mean that, in your axes here, there's an eclipse and you're not the one having the drama. There could be drama in other people's lives and you're suiting up and showing up to help them in some way, right? And maybe this, maybe this shifts what's happening in your career because you're having, during this time, events are happening that are putting you in position to, one, they're emotionally challenging to you, and they may be challenging your work-home life balance, right? If a parent, a child, you get sick at this time, we've got to figure out some things with work. How are we going to make money, right? Even if you are so retired it hurts, you know what I mean? If something happens, this changes who and what you're doing in your daily life out in the world. But it will certainly be a time where I think that there is an engagement with something of an authoritarian energy. It could be Happy New Year. It could be government. This could be how you would like to see yourself using your gifts out in the world. Whatever it is, the eclipses on these axes have everything to do with home, creating a new home, creating a new foundation, your past, your emotional roots, connections to authority figures as well. Could this mean a job change coming in? Absolutely, it could signal a job change. It could signal a promotion happening here as well, but it will signal a life change in the mix, okay? It's up and it's on the agenda. All right, we've got 2 more axes to do, and then we'll wrap it up and all of that good stuff. Okay, so the 5th and the 11th house. Now, first of all, I just love the 5th house because the 5th house is the joy house, right? That's what we're doing. We're doing joy up here. The 11th house, unlike the 3rd house, the 11th house is where we've got our bigger social media things, our bigger social connections, ones that are not always as personal and close to us, but we are out in the body of social connection. So Facebook, Instagram, all of that kind of stuff, okay? So an eclipse of any variety happening in this 5th house is going to shake you up. And first question I like to ask is, what's the current level of joy in your life? How much fun are you actually happening in your life? Right? I think that it is just like, that's one of the things we overlook. That's one of the things I think we really overlook when things are going great, when they're going bad. It's not so much about, am I actually enjoying myself? Am I having fun? Is my voice heard? When's the last time I got to play some ping pong, right? Like whatever it is that your unique joy, how much are you in touch with that? How much access do you have to that, and are you using? So the other thing is the 5th house is a brave house, right? It is childlike. It is brave. Little kids, right? They fall down the stairs and they're like, oh my God, that was terrible. I bet I can do better. You know what I mean? They fall into that. It's a very brave. What becomes available in the 5th house it's like a wake-up call to say, who are you? What makes you unique? What are you doing with your creative gifts? What are you doing with your voice? Right? Do we even know who you are? Like, this is a really creative house. So an eclipse here is going to shake you up, create a little chaos, so that maybe you're even put in a position where you have to find your voice and you have to tell us who you are. It's a place of recognition. Right? You've been doing stuff. You've been on the hustle. You've been at this company 100 years. And yes, you like your job. You're happy, good company, everything. You do the stuff behind the scenes and maybe nobody knows about it. Now you're going to need some recognition, and you're not even going to need it. You may require some recognition at this particular point. Now, this is also a romantic house. This is the house of the beginning of romance, of conception. And conception is more than just making babies. So could an eclipse trigger making some babies or having some babies? Yeah, absolutely. If that's what you're into, you know what I mean? If that's what you've got going on, this is definitely a house of children, babies. Conception means a lot of things, though. Maybe you are at the beginning of a new romance. You've got a new romance walking into your world, coming in. You didn't even see it coming. You were just over here with your weave half on, and there they come. You know what I mean? You're not looking, but you're in a space to invite it in. Now, the other thing I think about the conception space is this could be the time when that new business idea and the collaboration needed to help it launch comes across as well. You're on the axis. It's people that help make your dreams come true on this axis, right? So you could have this new business coming on. Whatever it is, your voice, your beauty, your unique you is going to find prominence. Now, because it is a children house. Your children could have beautiful new beginnings happening right now. Okay, like, you know, we're going into January. We're in January. We're going into a new season. We're in winter. I have got children who've got all of these new experiences. We've got puberty and high school and driving. My children are having new experiences as these are happening in their houses. How fun for them, right? So that could definitely be something happening for you. But it is about taking a risk. Whatever it is, you're going to take a risk here. You're going to gamble with your heart. You're going to gamble. You are going to take a risk, but the risk is uniquely you, okay? All right, that 11th house. The 11th house has to do with friends, my extended friends, my acquaintances, groups, organizations that are in a grouping form. So maybe even just the gym. But I think of like business networking groups. I think of Facebook. I think of YouTube. I think places you can have groupings of sharing information but collaborating for a same cause or something like that. The 11th house is also the house of colleagues. So people who genuinely want to work with you. So what a beautiful place to have a stirrup. Now, depending on, this will very much so depend on your chart. This could be the time with an eclipse happening here that you see that someone's actually working against you, but that will very much so depend on your personal chart, okay? So don't take that into any fear-based weird place. No need for that. But what it's going to bring your attention to is your friends. Who are you running with? Right? Take a look at the 5 people you're running with, and are they going somewhere? Are they going the direction you want to be going with? What do they have to offer that you're growing into and that you're helping nurture out of them and they're helping nurture out of you, right? You may be taking a look around and going, you know what? I don't even actually like this gym. Why am I at this gym? This gym does not support me, right? And you decide you want to do it a different way. This could certainly be a place where you go, all right, now, I made this YouTube channel 100 years ago, and I've put up one video and never done anything else with it. And you find the courage to find your tribe, continue to make videos. You feel supported. You feel like your attention is going to come to getting support, having a tribe, having a grouping around you. Now, when you come into the 11th house, whoever rules your 11th house, that's fine. But the 11th house is traditionally ruled by Aquarian energy, right? So you may come into contact with people that are way different than who you would normally hang out with. You could come into contact with some just really fascinating characters that you would have never thought to cross paths with. And it's genius. The 11th house is genius. It's brilliant, right? They seem like the odd couple. They seem like the person that you maybe don't even like them at first. And they're wonderful. And it comes out to be something genius and brilliant, just completely unleashed. Now, the last thing I'll say about the 11th house before we move on is that it is about freedom as well. You want the freedom to be yourself here. In the 5th and the 11th houses, you want your own unique vibe. You want your own unique voice. And the 11th house, you're going to fight differently for it. You are going to just bust down walls. You're going to bust down tradition. You're going to be out. You're going to network. You're going to be social with people and get to know so that you can collaborate, right? So this is an energy that is going to cause you, first of all, some ups and downs in friendships, right? It'll bring ups and downs. This is an emotional energy, but it's also going to bring your tribe. Who's really in your tribe? That's going to be brought to very much to light at this particular time, okay? All right, let's hit our last 2 houses and we'll finish up for now. All right, so we've got the 6th and the 12th house axis. Now, in the 6th house, you've got a shakeup happening in your 6th house. First of all, do you think that Virgo really likes a shakeup? Because I'm going to tell you that the answer is no. Okay, so what's happening in the 6th house is usually a little bit of a shock, I think, as it comes on. Because the very first thing we think of in that 6th house is health, right? Our physical body, our spiritual fitness. I put mental wellness up here as well. So a little bit of a shakeup can happen here. I do believe that in the 6th house with eclipse or moon energy here, it can become a little bit more accident prone. So I always ask people to pay attention if you've got a high amount of energy, especially moon energy running through your 6th house. Pay attention. because this could be, you could just be a little bit more accident prone here. Now, it could also be an energy that shakes you up enough where you've got something going on health-wise, mental-wise. And when I say mental health, I say, how are you talking to you? What's the conversation happening up here on a daily basis? You know, if you lose your job today, where's your mental, spiritual capacity? Where's that connection? Can you feel like you can be okay and weather that? Or is this going to be a complete fall apart, right? So where is the mental health here as well? And so maybe it shakes you up enough to have to look at these things, or it brings something to light, okay? It's definitely a house of daily routines, right? The things that you're doing every day, brushing your teeth, coming home, the way you drive to work, your routine is going to get busted open, right? Because maybe something in your routine's been feeling a little stale, or you didn't even know subconsciously you were tired of your routine. Because remember, the moon's going to bring out subconscious things. We're not always aware of what's happening until we're aware of what's happening. You know what I mean? So you could be asking things like, is my daily routine missing something? Is my life missing something? Is my health missing something? You know, how can I make more progress here? How can I strive? Because remember, in the 6th house, we're striving for a level of perfection. You know what I mean? That's the Virgo way. How can I bring this to that next level of better, right? So you could definitely be facing some things here. Now, the 6th house is also the house of small pets. So I tell people, pay attention to your pets. What's happening here? You know, do you have a small pet who wanders their way into your life? You know, when I get high Virgo happening energy in my life, or 6th house energy, I swear to God, we've had enough fish in this house to fill SeaWorld. Seriously. These little small pets find their way into my house. So, I definitely think that's something to pay attention to, is to your pets as well. And service, things that are about service, fair trade, like bracelets, any of the things that put you in a position of being of service. And remember, the moon can take us to the past as well. So maybe an idea of a pet, or of a routine you used to have in your life, or any of these kinds of things could come up for you. And they're just very much so in your consciousness and making a shift. Now, can health get worse during an eclipse? Yes, I think that it can. However, one of the things that I think is the easy kind of treatment around that, or a way to work with that, is to really look at what the emotional connection to the illness is as well. And that will, of course, depend on you, your personal story, your chart, all of that good stuff. So look at what the emotional connection between the potential illness is as well, okay? Now, in that 12th house over here, this is the house of animals in general. So, you know, if you have a horse come into your house, then I love and congratulate you. I will stick to fish. I gotta work with the small animals, y'all, okay? But in the 12th house, this is also the shadow space. This is a quieter place. This is the place where we tend to our soul. We tend to what I need when I need quiet. I tend to the things that I need to be a little bit quieter and a little bit more in isolation to get a grasp around them. My spiritual practices, my meditation, my routines, where my transitions are. What are the things that I need to do to let go? Now, in the 12th house, we also see behind the scenes work, right? Like my students, my researchers, my detectives. If you're looking for hidden things that are not out in the open, and you get a shake up here, you could have information and answers coming to you, right? If you're working on a paper, doing a thesis, dissertation, whatever, you could have information coming to you from this space. You're empowered a little bit to work in this hidden kind of mucky, quiet, in between the world space. Now, other things that happen in the 12th house space are affairs, things that happen in the dark we don't want to come to light. We can see these things happening as well, okay? So in the 12th house space, one of the first things I think of is you may experience a lot of messages, because this is, again, it's a watery energy in this 12th house space, and the moon is a water-based energy. You could have a lot of messages, information, things like that coming to you through a dream space. Through, you know, you have a quick little doze, and all of a sudden you wake up and you're like, oh, I wonder if I could do it that way. Or you get a message and you're not sure what the message means, and it's the same kind of pattern over and over and over again. Are you dreaming of fish over and over again because somebody could be pregnant, right? Are you dreaming of being pregnant because you could be launching a new business, right? So these are the things that could be happening to you, but you're getting in them maybe even a little bit more in a dream space, or the information's coming to you a little bit more when you are in a space of isolation, in meditation, in prayer. Maybe you're having a spiritual awakening over things. You could be looking at things from the past and you're seeing them unveiled. Like you're seeing them in a whole new light. Now, some of the other things I think are very important in the 12th house space is looking at, because the 12th house is the house of our own undoing. We're going to undo ourselves here, right? So in this 12th house space, you could be looking at patterns of belief, patterns of behavior, patterns of addiction, patterns of mental health, patterns of institutionalism in your life or in your world. You could be looking at these things to break through them, to see what's on the other side, to get out of the way. Self-doubt, self-sabotage, all of these things could be coming from this 12th house space as well. Now, because it is the space of hospitals, institutions, psychiatric things, these are all things too. You could start working at a hospital. You could have high interaction with a hospital, somebody who has an addiction, something like that. It's going to create a shakeup where you're going to be right in the line of, I don't want to say line of fire, but you're going to be right in the line of action with something like that. Now we have to face things in the world. It's not always a gushy comfortable. In the 12th house, we do things with kidnapping, cold cases, abandonment, right? We do those things in the 12th house as well. You could find yourself in connection with that in some way. You know what I mean? So we have to keep these things in mind. Now, that's not to say anyone's going to be kidnapped. I'm not putting anything bad out there. But with every house, you have to be aware of everything that happens there. Astrology is not just the happy-go-lucky tool of the universe. Real things in life, real departments and things in life happen in all of these houses. So you want to pay attention. Now, the last thing I want to say about this 12th house space is this space of things that are fantasy, unconscious, subconscious, and we also want to learn to make them real. This happens over here as well. So this could be something that's happening. You're conjuring up a vision, an idea, and later on you're going to try and figure out how to make it real. Or maybe you're still going to spend this next 6 months trying to see how to get it together. What do you want that to look like? What's the vision? And the example that I always give of this is that before a chair was a chair, it was just a fantasy. It was just an idea. It was just created over here in the ether, and then someone made it into a reality, and then IKEA happened. You know what I'm saying? So, they could very much so be a visionary space, okay? But ultimately, I think in the 6th and the 12th houses, when there's eclipse or moon energy happening here, it's trying to adjust the guiding force of your life, right? What are you getting down to? Right? What's the little minutia in your day-to-day life that you can really get rid of because it's not serving you, so that you can go ahead and have this pretty beautiful, spiritually awake experience? There it is, guys. We've done all of the houses, and we've done them in axes version, so that you know what to look out. If it's happening in the 2nd, you want to look over the 8th. If it's happening in the 1st, you want to also know what's going on in the 7th and know how to kind of use these impacts. From there, of course, what you're going to want to do is you need to either have someone, have a professional, or do it yourself and map out your transits. Map out the other things that are happening around this and making connection to it. But here is a very good general way for you to start looking at this and making your way through it, okay? And again, I look forward to telling you guys more about these bracelets and why I chose these colors for our giveaway, and I'm really excited. So check out Sasha Co. Let's give them a little bit of love, see what you think about them, okay? All right, you guys, I love you so much. If you missed anything, this will be posted in just a little bit here, and I'll tell you all about how to find these things in your own chart and all of that good stuff. Ooh, I gotta go, my battery's dying. I love you guys. Bye.